As promised, we're going to go ahead and start ramming these wheels up for Mr. Richard Freer. He needs one of each one of these, and he has already put a threaded insert down in the middle that matches the pull tool I use. Check out these nice brass registration pins. Really nice quality patterns. He also got two of these. These are going to be for a 40-tooth gear blank and a 30-tooth gear blank. And there's no pull holes on the back, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that now. Alright, so now we've got our center line. We're going to be doing this today as well, guys. We need to get Mr. Patterson a piece made and get that shipped to him. He did a real good job on this. We've actually already cast one just to play around with, and it works great. It's ingot mold. I was going to send him this one, but the lettering didn't turn out right on it for Windy Hill Foundry, and honestly, I'm not going to put that on his anyway. We want to cast it just like he made it. I have two well-experienced pattern makers we're going to do a video on today. So let's start off with this one. Now this is a filler block. It will help keep the sand from flexing the pattern. This is quite thin in places, so you don't want to distort it. You see the X? Orientate the X in the same place, and you got Bondo that allows this to set tight and rigid right there, and at the same time flush with this flange. Since we're on the subject of patterns, I wanted to show you something one of my fellow subscribers from Florida, his name is Kurt, sent us last week. These are two brand new, still in the pack, 12-inch shrink rules from Starrett. These are 1/8 of an inch per foot. He gave Josie and I both one. I appreciate that. These will work just fine with our cast iron. And because we are steadily using them not only in the shop, but here at the house, we're going to keep one here and one out there in the pattern room. Kirk, I wanted to thank you for these. If you want to see a good detailed video on hook rules, check out Mr. Pete's latest video, or one of his latest videos. I don't know when this is going to post, where he gives a very interesting description of the use of hook rules. So I decided to include this in the video too. I stepped on my funnel, the one that I use to concentrate my facing sand just to the smallest detailed areas, before I put the coarser sand on. And it was, you know, white, cheap, plastic Chinese piece of junk. I stepped on it, crushed it, went into a million pieces. So I decided, instead of wasting 30 minutes running down to the store to find another one, I'd spend the next 4 hours making one. That's what we got so far out of some flashing. I've got a rivet gun, a very nice rivet gun, pop rivet gun, that would be ideal for this, but I couldn't find it. So I made my own rivets. I guess it's 1/8 TIG rod for aluminum. And I put it in my pliers like this with about 1/8 of an inch. That's not 1/8. That's about 1/8 sticking out of the side of the pliers. And then I rest my thumbnail against it, take the pliers off, and I cut it to length. From there, I put the rivet in the pliers. Now once it doesn't matter if you get it flush or not, because when you start tapping on the head of it to round it over, it's going to bottom out down here. So I'm not holding this tight. And sometimes they'll bend on you as you're doing that, so I take a look at it. It looks good and straight. So we're going to continue with this. And I have a decent little rivet. Get it? Now we got to drill a hole. And I'm going to go ahead and punch one in right here. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. Let's stick it on the inside of that hole, just like that. Whoa, that's way too long. I forgot. I trim it down. Once I form the head, I cut it to about a total length length of about 1/8 of an inch. Like that, and we're going to take it on out to the anvil. I just take and I slide my funnel without dropping the rivet out of it. I turn it sideways, put it right over the horn, kind of steady it with my hand, and just tap her down on there. So that, my friends, is my crappy riveting job. But it'll hold, that's all I'm worried about. We have a genuine American-made funnel, despite its appearance. We're going to use the small flask. It's going to be a very small margin between this and the flask on each end, but it's thin, and so I'm not too worried about that. I do want to make sure that the sand is super tight right along that surface area in between the cope and the drag, just to help prevent any iron from squirting out. This is going to be the cope. I want to fill from the bottom and let it come up. My dad had to bury a cow the other day with a backhoe, and he hadn't been getting on that backhoe in a while. Now keep in mind, Dad is 83 years old, and he messes hip up. He never complains about hurting, but he is now. I'm going to use this one because I can get down in those little tight areas with it. I don't want to nick this pattern. So we're going to round 2 of these up, and I'm going to nest these like I did the other day. I'm going to have, instead of pouring 1 mold at a time, we're going to pour 2. Good enough. Lock all that in place, and then we will dump it in. Now this is our drag. This is going to be flipped upside down, and then I'm going to cut the sprue. So the pattern's over here. I don't know what happened here, but we're going to fix that now. Now this is going to be the bottom one. I'm going to put my tapered sprue right here. The pattern is going to stay stuck in the coat when I separate this. So the iron is going to run down this channel and it's going to feed in here. I'm going to turn this on edge a second and go ahead and cut my runners. Want to keep the top of that flange looking as clean as possible. So I'm going to cut my runner in the cope, so the iron's going to run down through the sprue. It's going to fill this runner, and then it's going to run uphill into here. And we will set this in place. Beautiful. I'm going to vent about 2 points on each one of the feet just to help degas this as fast as possible. All right, so I've got the second mold made now, and before I put sprue in here, which I'm going to be using, instead of a tapered sprue, I'm going to be using a cylinder now, just a regular copper pipe. I want to go all the way through this one in order to fill the bottom one first and then this one. This is going to be the interface that sits on top of the other mold. We want to get the measurement as close to approximate now and go ahead and push this through, and then we'll flip it over. So from this side, it looks like we're looking at 7 3/8 from the edge of this flask, measuring from the left. This will be upside down, so I will not be measuring from here over. I will be measuring from here over. So we said 7 3/8, which is going to put me right here. And I'm just going to scribe a line right up. Now all I got to do is measure from the front on there, which is, looks like it's going to be 3 1/4 inches. All right, so that's our crosshair right here. So I'm going to go ahead and, good grief. Someone didn't get the picture bond out of this tube. So that looks like that's going to work. Now, this, as I said, is a straight tube. So I don't want to go all the way through. It does not release the sand as easily as the tapered one. Works better if I go a little bit at a time. Now, as you can see, I'm a little off course, breaking out on the other side. That's why we wanted to get it as close as possible on the side that's actually going to sit in relation to the top on the other one before we accumulate any air from squareness, because my perpendicularity right now is probably 5 degrees. 5 degrees on a 10-inch drop. Well, you figure it up. I don't have my calculator. But that'd be how far off course you would be on the other side. If you were to flip this over first to punch the hole all the way through, you might come out here, 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 or here. I just got to remember this is the bottom, which it won't be a problem when I get the mold apart. Looks good. So we're going to do like we did on the other one. We're going to cut our runner in the drag, and we will cut our gates into the coat, and that way your gates are not exposed on the top surface. I'm going to just lightly float it a little bit. And that should do it. As long as I put this corner to that, we should be good. You can kind of see that we're pretty darn close to that bottom sprue. Another good one. So this is going to be the drag on the second half. Cores look good. And this is the cope. I think we are ready to put this together. Oh, gotta cut my pouring basin. That's what happens when you get in a hurry. Alright, now we're ready. You can squeeze two of the smaller diameter gears in one flask. The bigger one's going to have to go in by itself, but Richard Freer, he made these patterns, and we're going to make a set to go on the store as well in case someone is in need of any of these. 14 pitch, 105 tooth. We also have a 30 tooth that he needs two of these. We're going to go ahead and try to fit this one into this mold. Patch this. Need to do a little more. Might actually be able to save that. Yep. I'm also going to rotate this 180 degrees. That way I can remember where to put my basin. So we have a big dowel and we have a small dowel to make sure we keep the clocking correct. Alright, so I'll put my sprue right here. Those stayed, these didn't. That's never happened before. Yeah. Lay these carefully over here where they don't get damaged. We're going to run down these two runners, trying to go in this direction here on the spoke, but here it's actually hitting dead on the rim. I don't like that, but it was so narrow right here in between the runner on the wheels, I decided that was going to be a weak spot to go ahead and cut into. Otherwise, I would have cut in here and right there. I think it's going to work okay, though. Like I said, we do have at least one entry that's going straight to the center, so that should work just fine. Alright, we got one done. Now we got one more wheel that we're going to ram up, which is this one, along with one of each of those. Alright, the one that says 30 teeth, we already did that one. He needed two. That's going to be in the other mold. So I'm not going to worry about making that one on camera. You get an idea of what's going on, and it's probably going to be a better mold than this one. Now that I know what to expect. I'm running out of time. I wasn't able to get a pour done in this video because we were doing several different molds. I will show you the pour along with the results next week. In the meantime, we have construction guys coming out here very soon, possibly as early as tomorrow. As I'm trying to pour these, and let's hope the power doesn't go out. The weather, as you can tell, is very nasty. Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we're getting a lot of visitors here lately. Anyway, it looks like we're going to have the slab before the next video comes out, and I'll show you details on that. And if you happen to be down in the Florida area, be sure to swing by there and see us. We're going to be down there on Saturday, the 25th, I believe. Dollar would love to see you. Stan Zankowski will be coming. He's driving. It's a long story. I'll let him tell that. Stan will be there. Jim Bollinger, Keith Rucker, myself, and some others. Be sure to come on down. There's plenty to see, and hopefully the weather down there is going to be nothing like this mess. All right, guys, we will talk to you later. For those who have been asking about the Windy Hill Foundry hats, these are now available on my website, windyhillfoundry.com, under stores, or you can click on the above link. These are on the pricey side, but keep in mind the shipping is included. Have a good day.